Hello, and thanks for joining the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, Oshiomhole meets with APC senators over Saraki's Senate presidency as lawmakers take impeachment battle to court. Oshiomhole picks Dogara over Saraki, and later on the show, Borno State Governor gives 5 million naira scholarship to Borno-born best JAMB candidates. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Wahid Bakare, and Wale Adegi. So if you're set, let the hangout start now. Glad to have you back. The Nigeria's National Assembly is becoming a house of commotion where things are falling apart. A reported planned sitting of the federal lawmakers to deliberate on national issues of national importance has been cancelled. The reason for the cancellation remains in the realm of mystery to most citizens. But the controversy over the continued headship of the Senate by the Senator Bukola Saraki after its defection rages on. National Chairman of the All Progressive Congress, that's APC, has called for a meeting with the party's Senate caucus to deliberate on the way out of the woods. On the other hand, senators from the opposition People's Democratic Party have approached a court to stop any planned impeachment of Saraki and other principal officers of the Senate. As the battle shifts out of the hallowed chambers, who blinks first? Babajide, I'm getting so uncomfortable about this problem in the National Assembly. There's something that it looks like is not in our interests. It's about ambition, it's about 2019, it's about them, and it's not about the bigger picture. While we're talking about the supplementary budgets from the Independent National Electoral Commission for expedite action on this, but between the People's Democratic Party and the All Progressive Congress, there's a battle of supremacy, and that is almost crippling the activities within the National Assembly.
Well, as you know, politics is an interest-driven game, and everyone wants to maximize the advantages available to him, the opportunities, the potential available to him. So in this case now, Saraki is the presiding officer. He knows what the law says. Oshiomhole is the chairman of the party. He's embarrassed about the fact that not only has Saraki defected, but the unfortunate scenario for the APC is that both the presiding officer, the number one presiding officer, and his deputy will now be members of the PDP. It's a scenario that they find it difficult to live with. One, because everyone knows that the National Assembly, especially the Senate under Saraki's leadership, has been largely hostile, if I can use that word, to the executive. There has been no love lost in the relationship between the National Assembly, between the Senate and the executive. So they see such a situation even worsening by the time Saraki begins to preside over the affairs of the Senate as a member of the opposition. Yes, he is not required to vote under normal circumstances, except in the case of the need to break a tie. He is not expected to vote, but as the presiding officer, he has all the influence, and he can really make a lot of nasty things happen. In their own thinking, they believe that with Saraki now in the PDP, Ekweremadu in the PDP, is a very bad scenario. If it was the presiding officer as an APC person, and then they can manage that. But to have the two of them is the situation that they find it extremely difficult to live with, and that's why they are running from pillar to post, trying their best to see that Saraki does not continue as any president. And of course, the Saraki supporters too, they know what the law says, and that's why they've gone to court. You recall that we've been saying it, that look, the law is quite clear on how the Senate president can be impeached. But we are seeing all kinds of interpretations by lawyers. Of course, you and I are familiar with this. When we had that case in Abia the other day, Uchioga and the governor of Abia State, we saw lawyers deliberately misinterpreting the provisions of the law just so that it can suit them. It also happened in the case of Mama Taraba and Darius Ishaku, where Mama Taraba took Ishaku to court over a pre-election matter involving not his own party, a different party. We talked about what the outcome would be in court, but we saw lawyers, even SANS, telling us that no, Mama Taraba was right, this and that. And by the time those cases were decided,
by the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court and the Appeal Court, they both ruled that, look, this is a pre-election matter, and you, not being one of those who contested against Darius Ishaku in the primary of the party, you cannot prove that you were wronged in any way, that you were hurt in any way. Therefore, you have no right to go and file a suit over a matter that does not concern you, a matter involving a different party. But this is Nigeria. Lawyers will come, sometimes having been bribed, they will come before television cameras and be twisting our constitution. You know, twisting the meaning of the import. Yes. So this is
or party affiliation.
This is an unusual time in our country, and as I said last week, Saraki is a polarizing figure in our country. Our country is now divided. You have those for him and those against him. So for those who are against him, whether you speak the truth, whether you quote exactly what the Constitution says, they are not bothered. All they want is for him to be removed by any means possible. They don't mind if we return to the Obasanjo era, where 8 individuals were being used to impeach sitting governors. So all they want is for him to go.
Wahid, when you look at the way things are going now, and it's going to be very difficult for the Senate particularly to sit, because when you look at, as of last week, Yusuf Olaniyan was quoted as they've collected 49 signatures. That's those people that gave vote of confidence on the leadership of Saraki. Now, and when you look at the other sides, maybe APC, maybe they have 53, 54. So the balance of what you see. And if that house today sits, your guess is as good as mine, what will happen?
Well, like Ejide said, politics is about interest. So each of the party, are looking for a way out of the quagmire, because as it is now, we are in a fixed. Nobody is really sure. The APC is claiming that it has the majority. PDP said it has the majority. But by the time the House, reconvene, we know which of the parties is actually telling the truth, But be that as it may, I'm very happy that 2 of the senators have taken a bold step of going to court. I believe, I'm a firm believer in the rule of law. And I've said it times with that number that we should, from time to time, continue to put to test our legal system.
Are you sure the judiciary will entertain that kind of suit? Because I think it's strictly a legislative matter. How they rule themselves, who they want to rule them, and everything.
They will entertain it. They will entertain it because of the fact that, in the past, we have had a similar situation. If you look at the claim being made by one of the senators that deposed to the affidavit, he talked about factionalization of that. On that ground, Saraki is right. To have defected from APC to PDP. But you also recall that we have had a similar scenario in the past, whereby somebody from Labour Party, defected from Labour Party and went to APC. And he went to the court. And the
That's
court, to ACN, sorry. And the court said no. The kind of fractionalization that the court envisaged must be at the national level, not at the state. At the state, there was no doubt about it that there was as at that time. But at the national level, there was nothing of
I think
such.
it was involving Senator Ajayi Boniface.
No, I'm talking of the one that involved
Not
the LP man. And the court said no, it is wrong. But
We waited for
interestingly,
Boniface's judgment. We didn't want
Yes,
but
I remember.
interestingly, one of the senators that opposed to the affidavit is coming with that argument that based on this, lawyer will always tell you that the law is dynamic. That's why they can say this one will argue this way, another person will argue this way. But let them go to court and sort it out. That's the essence of what the law is expected to do. Let's know who is right and who is wrong. For me, I don't. It may be difficult for them to reconvene because it is about interest now.
Could give an injunction that Sarah
well, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know until
That's not what they're
until
saying.
when you get
They
to
say
court.
unless certain conditions are
met.
And those are the conditions stipulated in the Constitution. We'll get to that later.
Well, Wally, the political implication of what is happening, it's so close to the, as stipulated by INEC, the timetable for primary elections of these political parties. And most of these things we rightly know is all about 2019. So,
well, it's a very unfortunate thing that since 1960, we've been having this same similar or the same conflict, at the national level. And it's also very unfortunate that it used to be an intra-party problem within the APC. But it is an inter-party problem. When Saraki was in the APC, it was purely, an affair within the APC that they could have used internal mechanism of the APC to resolve. But now the opposition has taken process. They have taken over the conflict itself. So it becomes more difficult. More so that both parties are taking extreme positions. But I think the idea of going to court, for me, may not be the end of the matter. Court cases are usually, long drawn. And most of the time, it's better to resolve political conflicts using political solutions. Because when you go to court, the judge will pass a verdict of guilt or innocence. But political solutions lead to concessions. It gives the stakeholders opportunity to meet one-on-one. It gives them opportunity to interact. So this idea of going to court may actually be a delay tactics, in order to foster a situation where, the Senate president can be impeached. Don't also forget that the idea of going to court is not, the PDP hasn't got that monopoly. APC can also go to court to challenge, the position that, they are looking for interlocutory injunction that the Senate president should not be impeached. So I don't think the legal fireworks is what can lead to an immediate resolution of this conflict. For me, I think we should get to a situation where we must put the interests of the country at, to make it primary. That they should realize that the way things are going, it can snowball into greater crisis that can affect the entire country. So statesmen in the country should rise up and see this conflict as something that can affect the future of the country. We have former president, we have former Senate president, and all that. They should show greater concern. Because if this thing continues this way, I think Nigeria is going to be, face greater problems. And for me, it's not just about law. Morality is also there. Nations are not governed by laws alone. So for me, I expect that if the Senate president does not want to be a member of the APC, again, there is nothing wrong if he steps down. If he takes that decision today, that's going to reduce the temperature of the political crisis that we have in this country today. But this idea of hanging on at all costs, as if politics is all about life and death, that's why you see developed countries are able to sustain democratic norms. Because when there is a major crisis like this and you feel, the interests of the future of the country is at stake, you step down so that the country can move forward. Why must you hold on to be the Senate president at all costs? For peace and prosperity of the country, it's not a bad idea for a Senate president to step down so that we can move forward.
Jide, I think part of the lacuna we have in that 1999 constitution as amended, because if you read through, you will discover that it did not specify that it is the majority party that will become the Senate president.
That must produce the
Senate president.
No.
It's not there.
And it doesn't say once you defect to a minority party, you should lose
your position.
Otherwise, Tambuwa should have lost his position immediately.
So these are the things we have to grapple with.
Yes, it's if it was someone else, someone less political, he would probably just resign and spare himself all this trouble, all this running around, all these late night meetings, because I know that Saraki is running from pillar to post. He has
the forces against him.
Maybe during this time of recess, this is a long recess, when the legislature across the world usually go on break. Even in the UK, the legislature is on break now. This is a time for them to rest. But there is no rest because they are meeting every day. Meetings are running deep into the night. He's moving from one person to another, consulting, trying to see how he can come. Yes, maybe eventually even consult you. He's moving from pillar to post. These issues can be resolved easily, but he is a political person.
Highly political.
If he's highly political, he's ambitious.
Yeah, desperately
if he has his chance, if it's within the law, we can't begrudge him. Yes, we can't begrudge so that they don't see us as serving some people's interest. Whatever we do, we know that they will say it, but at least our conscience will be clear. He is interested even in becoming the president of this country. Remember, as far back as 2011, he tried to become president. But he yielded the position to Atiku, after he was screened out by the Adamuchi Roma-led committee. Now, even at this time, we know that it's still possible for him to gun for the presidency. But in a conflict like this, people will always look at their own interest. How do I come out of this? Do I come out of this a beaten man, a clobbered man, a thoroughly defeated man? Because if he comes out of this a thoroughly beaten man, a clobbered man, a defeated man, his political career is finished. But if he lives on a high, if he manages to stay afloat, he has something to brag about that. Yes, I was the Senate president of this country during the 8th legislature. You understand? Then he has another battle in Kwara to try to retain his base. So I guess this is how he feels, that look, I shouldn't just back out of a fight. And you know that it is not even in their nature. It is in his DNA and the DNA of his late dad to not back out of a fight based on what we've seen over the years. So this one now, he thinks that he still has the support of some senators, that at worst there will be a stalemate. And if there's a stalemate, then there will be a need for both parties to come together and see how they can fashion out a deal. But he thinks that he still has a good support base. But the problem is between the people saying they are Saraki's supporters, between the people saying they are President Buhari's supporters, or they are with Oshiomhole, there are moles on both sides. So because there are moles on both sides, it's extremely difficult for you to be sure that on the day of reckoning, the person that you firmly think is on your side will be on your side. What they've done, what the APC, the PDP, what they've been doing, the Saraki people, they say they have 49 members who are with the Senate president. But if you call a meeting today, maybe you see only 30 of these 49. I'm telling you, this is what is happening. Maybe you will see only 30. Out of these 49, there will be people sitting on the fence. With the APC leadership too. out of the 54 that they have, I've seen some of them are even adding Aduda.
The one that just won the election.
They are not waiting for him to defect before adding him. They are adding Aduda. They are adding Darie, who is cooling his feet in prison, amongst the people on their list. Well, that is an aside. But where I'm going, even out of their own group, there are also people, because this will not be by voice vote. This will not be by secret ballot. You have to get up to say, I do not support the Senate President continuing in office. So it's especially difficult for people for everybody for in broad daylight, for people, a lot of us can actually stab people in the back. But it's easier for us to stab people in the back when they don't know that we are doing it. But to confront people, stab people in the back when they are looking at you is difficult for most people. So that's why this thing is very tricky. It's a very fluid situation, and you can say that at the end of the day it can go either way. I heard, boasting that he does not believe that APC has a majority, that there are 4 senators who would decamp on the day they reconvene. But the other people too have been talking about senators from the Saraki side who have been meeting with them. So it's a very interesting situation. God will spare our lives. We will see how this is resolved. But our interest, as I always say, is let the Constitution be followed. I'll be happy. The APC chairman has said that they will remove him by legal means. That is what I want to see. Okay. Let them follow the Constitution, so that people don't see us as a nation of outlaws.
Wahid, I think a lot of people will put the blame at the doorstep of Mr. President. That famous June the 9th, 2015 election, in the National Assembly election, that Mr. President was just sitting on the fence, as in he didn't show any interest. And I think this is haunting him, really. Because since 2015, since Senator Bukola Saraki has emerged as the Senate President, it has been one controversy or the other within the APC till he left for the People's Democratic Party.
Like you rightly said, I think the President...
Let me quickly pick my first caller. Yakub is calling us from Lagos. Thank you for joining us, Yakub.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening to you all.
Good evening, Yakub.
Good evening, sir.
Great to agree to.
Thank you very much. I really love your analysis. For me, if Saraki believes that he still have the majority in the Senate, I think they have majority or don't have majority, the Nigerian citizen interest is supposed to supersede anybody interest. Not that the reconvene of the House is affecting Nigerian citizens, not Saraki alone. Because you cannot be in an opposition party and still control the National Assembly, even though the law is silent about it. Now, there's some law need to test in the law court about who leads the Senate Assembly or National Assembly as such to say. Because as a minority person in the Senate, and then you are not in the member of the Senate. If as the senator, I think I would send out very particular clause in the court of law. If we are in the Senate, if a simple majority, let's see as the Senate President, I think simple majority can still take you out of that place.
No.
Thank you, God bless you.
That's not what the law says.
No, I think he's suggesting.
No, that's not what the law says. What the law says is that a president and a deputy president of the Senate, who shall be elected by members of that house from among themselves, can be removed by a resolution of the Senate or of the House of Representatives, as the case may be, by the votes of not less than two-thirds majority of the members of that house.
A lot of people will tell you that these members of that house is vague. That's members
present. The Senate, the Supreme Court has already affirmed that.
Okay.
The Supreme Court affirmed that it is two-thirds of 109. You know why the Supreme Court did that? Because in the past, some people will sit without the knowledge of other members. They will sit, a few of them will sit. In some cases, they will suspend all the people that they know can oppose their plan. They will suspend them and then maybe 20 out of 30 people will now sit and say they are impeachment.
And they will now use two-thirds of those numbers.
The number of
The Supreme Court has now said no.
It has to be every member, all.
That is not less than 72.
For Senate, 109.
No, it said not less than 72 in this case, in the case of the Senate. This case has been decided in the past. So, and there's no way people won't refer to the pronouncement of the Supreme Court. So that's why this provision is no longer...
Section 50...
even if they say majority of the members of that house, it still does not mean majority of those sitting.
Those present.
You see lawyers...
22% majority of members of the house. It didn't say two-thirds majority of people sitting at a particular time. You see, the Constitution is written in clear language. You don't have to be a lawyer to understand the Constitution. Awojobi was not a lawyer, but he could defeat lawyers during his time. He would go to court. You know, he had superior knowledge of the law than most lawyers. The late Awojobi. So if it's written in clear language, people should understand. It doesn't say, two-thirds of the people sitting at a particular time.
Like I was saying, the president must have learned a bitter lesson from what is ongoing. Because I remember that as at that time, when he was doing, some people prevailed on him that he should not show interest on whoever emerges. And he also gave the impression that he was ready to work with whoever emerges. And as at that time, he was warned. But because those who sold the dummy to the president, they have their own targets too. Oh, don't allow this person to take control. This is the person that this person is supporting. By the time you allow him, it means that he will be in control of the country. That was the impression. By the time the president realized it, by the time the president realized it was already late. This is the first time we see a situation whereby the president and the majority of those who are in the Senate will belong to the same party. And you see them opposing this culture as if they are in opposition.
I'm telling you.
It has never happened in the history of this country. Some people felt if the president should show interest, it means that he's interfering. And the issue of check and balances, where does it come? It doesn't necessarily so. Because the president needs to work with people that we show interest.
Yes, in his policies and his vision.
It's sad that twice the president presented a candidate, as the chairman of the EFCC. The majority of those who oppose him are from the same party, and twice they did it, and nothing happened. And I'm very sure that if the president is re-elected, he will take more than passing interest in the emergence
of the National Assembly. While you're doing your take home on this.
Wait for them.
Well, something has to happen. The country needs to move forward.
Honestly,
we can't
this INEC bill,
head to ransom.
It's worrisome.
Elections are coming. We need to hold this election. So there must be a way to resolve this crisis in the overall interest of Nigerians.
A way to resolve it.
How that will be done is left for the political class.
First, I blame APC members in that Senate. When Saraki moved the motion for this long adjournment, I watched the thing live. There was no protest at all. There was no protest.
I mean, they say how they sitting.
There was no protest. So now, such a long, he had envisaged what could happen, and he moved that long adjournment. They didn't protest. It was after this whole thing happened that people are now saying, why?
He didn't even announce his defection.
He didn't announce his defection
during the plenary.
Unlike Tambwa, who announced on the floor, he didn't announce. He had this plan. So, and the truth is, even if they are going to approve the president's environment and the 242 billion that INEC is asking for, they can't do it in a day. It's not the sort of approval because they have to peruse the document and all that. So this will mean that the Senate must sit for maybe a minimum of 4 days. It's not what they can do under 1 day. So this has to be resolved.
All right, still to come. Oshomole picks Dogara over Saraki. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this breather. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout. We're reaching you live from Television Continental here in Lagos, Nigeria. The power of negotiation is an attribute a good political mobilizer must possess. Likewise, a good politician must have the wisdom to know how to make a retreat when faced with daunting challenge. The National Chairman of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Comrade Adams Oshiomhole, and Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Yakubu Dogara, appear to be blessed with these qualities as politicians. Oshiomhole took over leadership of the ruling APC when many National Assembly members were about to ditch the party, while the APC chairman could not stop Senate President Dr. Bukola Saraki and 14 other senators from defecting. It seems to have prevailed upon Dogara to remain in the party.
It was Senator Saraki complaining that he did not only complain that he wasn't giving juicy appointments, but that distinguished, Right Honorable Dogara was also not giving. And I wondered aloud whether Saraki thought that Dogara is not capable of speaking for himself. After all, he is the speaker. So if those were the views of Right Honorable Dogara, it was not for Senator Saraki to parrot, because Honorable Dogara is capable any day of speaking for himself. The point I only try to make is that Saraki wants to drag everybody along with him. The All Progressive Congress as a party and myself as chairman, we have confidence in Honorable Dogara. I have had very, very useful interactions with him. We've had a couple of meetings. He had shared with me in trust his concerns that have to do with issues in Bauchi State, and I have taken steps to address those issues to the best of my ability. And I have shared with him that I'm excited that we are getting very positive results. So Honorable Dogara has no problem whatsoever with the All Progressive Congress. And he didn't do anything similar to what Senator Saraki did. He emerged as Speaker, and he also ensured as a patriot that an APC member emerged as Deputy Speaker. He wasn't so desperate as to mortgage that position to PDP in order to cling on to his Speaker. He knew the difference between personal interest and his party interest.
Adams Oshiomhole there did fine full swings. And when we were on break, we were doing a comparison between the former chairman and our comrade Adams Oshiomhole. But going to the...
There's no basis to compare between them. There's no basis to compare. And APC has the good fortune of bringing Adams Oshiomhole at this time, because he has come to not just stabilize a rudderless ship. He has come to to give the party a stronger footing. He has come to arrest the drift in the party. Many people, when they hear Oshiomhole abusing people, they do not know the hard work that Oshiomhole is doing. How Oshiomhole is going around appealing to senators to remain in the party, appealing to aggrieved people to remain in the party, and promising them that those wrongs that are causing them to want to leave the party, that is going to address those wrongs. And I think a lot of these people, they believe him. They believe that when he says he's going to do something, he makes sure
to be in charge.
Yes, he is like a Mack truck. So if anybody stands in front of a Mack truck, the outcome is very predictable. So he has shown to them, to all those people playing God within the APC, he has shown to them who is in charge. You can't sit in your state and suspend a sitting senator. No. The NWC has to clear that suspension. So you can't, in your state, continue to play God and be intimidating and chasing around people within the party that you do not like. So Oshomole has come to show who clearly is in charge. That was why it's particularly painful to him that Autumn left, because he shows Autumn that, look, we need you. Nobody can give you a red card. There's no red card anywhere. He showed him. So, and he said it that if you are a leader in a state, you are not going to be allowed to be taking actions that will be pushing people out of our party, whether we like it or not. And for those who have made a habit of just abusing Dogara and all that, if we are in a party and we feel aggrieved, it is normal to ventilate our anger. And that is what has happened. But it is true that Dogara showed respect to his party. Unlike Saraki, who refused to read that letter, that famous letter that was sent to him, that these are the people that we want as presiding officers of the Senate. He refused to read it. In the case of Dogara, he did exactly what his party wanted. Forget about the fact that PDP members benefited more in terms of GC committee. Of course, he has to reward them because more PDP members voted for him, just like Saraki, than APC. But at the end of the day, people like the Surulere man,
Femi Gbajabiamila,
at least he became majority leader because he listened to his party. And that's why Oshomole has given him that benefit of the doubt. And Oshomole believes that his case is redeemable. Because as he said, he has engaged him. It's the same way that he engaged the man with the bushy hair from Kaduna, the senator with the bushy hair. Shehu Sani, that's the way he engaged him. Other people would like to push Shehu Sani's neck in the guillotine. But he came and said, look, there's a future for you in our party. That's how a leader should be. With those people, you are stronger with the people who are living, you know. You are stronger when the people who are living remain with you. And that's why I support him.
Now, looking at Yakubu Dogara's plight, I saw the result of last Saturday's election, and I looked, and is it a favorable thing for Yakubu Dogara to stay in APC or to go to the People's Democratic Party? And when you look at it, he has been reached out to, and his interest, in case he want to come back as a speaker, his interest is in case he even want to come back to that House of Representatives, because the feud he's having with his governor, the governor might not even get that ticket at all if things are not resolved.
If Oshomole allows the
Going by his popularity, I think it is almost certain that even if APC does not give him the ticket, if he goes to another party, he's likely to win. He may not return as the speaker, depending on the party on which platform he's going to contest. Now, the reason why I say that is because I'm aware of the fact that he's in firm control of his constituency, to the extent that the three major traditional rulers in that area, they have told all other politicians that should stay clear from his position. So going by that, it is almost certain that even if he goes to another party, he's going to get the ticket and return to the House, you know. And during the discussion he had with Oshomole, I'm very sure he must have tabled some of his grievances. Yes. Going by what Oshomole said, look, some of his grievances have been tabled before me, and we have already started looking into it. Perhaps that may be one of the reasons why he has not deferred, because I'm aware of the fact that almost all his supporters, they have moved to the other party. They are just waiting for him to, you know, to come on board and join them wherever they go to. But, you know, politics is about give and take. You can't say a man who is speaker doesn't have the clout, you know, or the resources that can help the party. You know, it's about give and take. Like Oshomole did acknowledge, you know, apart from the fact that he also allowed the deputy speaker to come from his party, he didn't waste time to ensure that he told the line of the party in terms of the principal officers. And for that reason, you also recall that while the heat was ongoing in Senate, there was calmness. Yes. You know, throughout, immediately after his emergence, you know, they were able to swallow the bitterness, because eventually he did what the party he did what the party wanted him to do, unlike what was play out at the Senate. You know, for a man like that, I think because of that, there's that level of trust that if he had done this in the past, he's likely to do it in the future. So I think that's why
how come Senator Bukola Saraki how come is able to carry somebody like Yakubu Dogara along in, in the last, I saw the last press conference, Yakubu Dogara was seated right beside him. And as the chairman of the National Assembly, Bukola Saraki seems to be in firm control of that National Assembly.
Well, the fact of the matter is that I think the speaker was like a beautiful bride. And it's natural that both sides would like to make overtures to him. He signed the statement condemning the DSS invasion. And then he was at the World Press Conference. But essentially, he's still a member of the APC. And if you look at the statements he has been making, he's less acrimonious. So the potential of aligning with him is there. And I think the statement made by the APC chairman is strategic because you can't fight too many battles at the same time. Fighting the Speaker of the House of Rep and then having problem with the Senate President. And I also think it's a strategy to isolate, the Senate President so that he will not have a realignment, with the House of Rep, which should be too dangerous for the party. So I think, initially, the exit of the Sokoto State Governor and the Benue State Governor generated a kind of euphoria. People felt, it's the end for APC.
Tsunami.
But after the election in Kogi, Katsina, and then Bauchi, I think politicians will now be taking a kind of reassessment that, look, it's not the end, for the APC. And the potential of the party bouncing back and establishing itself as a party in control has become stronger compared with some few months ago. So I think strategically, it will be good for the speaker to realize that his fortune is better realized in APC, at least as it is today.
Babajide, moving forward, Yakubu Dogara, should he decide, at this stage, do you think he will still take the plunge? Or it will still, because you can't predict politicians. Oshomole came out to speak glowingly like this of Governor Autumn after their meeting. For us to just say a week after that.
But there are two different scenarios.
Okay.
In Benue, APC is not as popular as it used to be in Benue. And the governor knows that if he remained in the APC, he's most likely to be voted out. APC has a lot of work to do in Benue. This is a fact. I was there recently, so it's not like one does not know what he's saying. So the governor may have felt, look, if my people want me to leave this party, then I leave. But it's not the same with Dogara. Yes, within his little constituency, the PDP even still defeated the APC, But even that has a history. So you can't blame him that happened. But it only suggests that a lot of his people must have felt aggrieved. And the blame for that, the blame for the situation that Dogara has found himself is to be placed at the door of the governor, because that governor has done his best to isolate Dogara, to make life difficult for Dogara, all so that he will not have anybody challenging him and all that. And it's not the only one. Look at what happened in Adamawa.
Zamfara.
So if people are hungry, go back. And Buhari said, a lot of these people defecting, they are not defecting because they have issues with me. It is in their states. Apart from Bukola Saraki, a lot of people defecting is because of the crisis in their states. Why would Mulika defect, for example, Sumono? Why would Sumono defect in Oyo? Look around, you see that those who are defecting are people who had problems with their governors. And Dogara is one of those people who had problems with his governor. If you want to make a man, you render a man impotent politically, he's going to fight back in any way that he deems fit. So, but once, and the same thing with even Shehu Sani. Shehu Sani's problem was not with the president, but with El-Rufai from the state. But once you give them, that is if the party permits him to humiliate or even persecute Shehu. But once the party gives them reassurance that, look,
they will be protected.
Yes, you'll be protected. You have every opportunity to be who you want to be in the party, then they will feel free. They will want to remain and work for the party.
Okay, moving on now. Over the years, Nigeria has been dubbed a country where mediocrity is placed above excellence in the run of things. So those who care for the trend to be reversed have campaigned long and loud. We are seeing a semblance of what it means to celebrate excellence in Borno State. The state governor, Kashim Shettima, has fulfilled his promise of providing full scholarship to the native of the state, Israel Galadima. 17-year-old Galadima got the highest score of 364 out of possible 400 in the 2018 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, UTME. For his efforts, the state governor awarded him 5 million naira. Let us give you the gist of what happened as captured by Sharon Ijason.
Officials from the Borno state government took time to visit Israel Galadima's school of choice, following government's promise to grant him full scholarship for excelling in the UTME exam, popularly known as JAMB in spectacular fashion. The State Commissioner for Higher Education, who represented the governor, says Governor Shettima believes that one of the best ways to fight the Boko Haram ideology is to heavily invest in free, compulsory, functional, productive and attractive education in Borno State.
The Executive Governor of Borno State, Honorable Kashim Shettima, was very proud of Israel's record of excellence. The governor was particularly happy that at a time when most part of the news associated with Borno has been about the unfortunate Boko Haram insurgency, we had something of a national pride associated with a son of Borno State.
After reading the governor's remarks, officials of the Borno state government presented a check of 5 million naira to the management of the school. The registrar of Covenant University made a short remark following the development.
It's very rare to see this kind of gesture in the Nigeria of today. But possibly you'll have just felt, okay, congratulations with one of us giving 500,000 and then forget about it, or even encourage him to do something else. But this is something unique, and we trust that it will inspire more younger people from that region to take their education very seriously.
He's destined for greatness. You know, even in his WAEC result, it was outstanding. He had 7 A's and 2 B's. He didn't give us any challenge. He was well composed and can be sure that he's destined for greatness. Well, for that which Borno State government have done, we are gladdened.
Doris Yaro, who represented the family, could not hide her emotions as she appreciated the Borno State governor.
I want to thank our amiable governor, Shettima. He is a unique governor. I'm from Borno State. We've went through so many governors, but he is a different one. And we are so grateful to him.
Out of the more than 1.6 million candidates that sat for the 2018 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, 17-year-old Israel Galadima scored the highest, 364 out of the total score of 400. He promised to give back to the people of Borno State after he completes his education.
Alhaji Kashim Shettima really beat my expectations, sir. I would like to say thank you. Thank you for your work in Borno State in various ways, education, infrastructure. I thank you so much, sir.
The scholarship offered to Master Israel Galadima, an exceptional indigene of Borno State who hails from Biu in the southern part of Borno State, is for a 5-year degree program in electrical electronics engineering at the Covenant University.
The Bible says, "See as thou a diligent man in this business, you shall stand before kings and not mean men or ordinary men." Yeah. Wale?
This is a great story. It changes the narrative of Borno as a state known for violence and terrorism. Honestly. It shows there are good stories, in Borno State. And I think this young man has inspired that new narrative. This is a boy that lost his father when he was about 3 years old, and he was raised by a single mother. So it's an inspiration to a lot of our younger people who have taken to drug, who have taken to Yahoo, and who have, in fact, who see football as the only means of, making fortunes, of being a hero.
Or betting.
Or betting.
Like that bets.
So I think this story is not just a story for Borno State, it's a story for Nigeria. It's a story for Ogun State. If you look at that score, the first person, these guys, school in Ogun State, a private school, then the second person also from Ogun State, and then the fourth person, you know. So I think we should also commend the effort of the governor. Many great dreams like this have ended up in the cemetery. But the governor has responded, you know, in a very timely manner and in a decisive way. You know, giving 5 million naira for his education. He's not hovering flat that I want to buy him a house or want to buy him a car, but investing in his future.
Pay for
so
that
I think
tuition
this
fee
is
for
a
the
great
duration
story.
of his
This
degree.
guy is a hero. And it's an inspiring story that I think every young person should emulate. It's a very good story about the future of this country, and it's a story that shows that our youth, there's a lot of energy in them. They are not hopeless. And, you know, a lot of them can remake the story of our country.
In the midst of, you know, seeming discouragement, a lot of discouraging story from the youths, this guy is an inspiration.
There's
364.
There's no doubt about
364
it. I
out of possible.
I can't remember if we have had any score that is higher than that. Like I was saying the other time, you know, during the break, I remember there was a time somebody scored 350, but I can't remember if there was anything higher than what this guy scored. Kudos to him.
Merit list. Any university in Nigeria.
Think of any university in Nigeria,
Merits.
he's going to enter based on merit. But what particularly struck me was the way and manner with which the government, you know, responded. You know, by also making sure that he presented the 5 million naira check, because the government said, you know, there's so much bureaucracy in government. By the time he leaves the office now, you know, the other government may be full dragging. So that one has been taken care of.
Saying the next 5 years, we are going to place you on scholarship.
No, it has been taken care of
Just
immediately. Because we have had a situation whereby government will send some people abroad to go and school.
Yes.
Another government will come in. You know, they will ask them to come back. There is no money.
Them, or they will be frustrated.
Some of them will be stranded over there. But we have a situation whereby it has been taken care of right from day one till the last day is going to. Kudos to the governor. I think we expect more of this from our government officials.
Babajide?
I really don't know where to start because I'm a bit emotional about this story.
Honestly.
Borno State, the governor, sometimes I ask myself, how far can Shetima go? It's a state that is under attack, but this governor is trying his best. And what he has done for this boy, God will reward him.
Quite emotional there.
Because he refused to even give the money to the parents. He paid directly to the school to make sure that the future of that boy is assured. How many times do we see our governors do this? This governor is facing attack from Boko Haram,
He's not enjoying.
yet he has invested so much in education, especially the education of the girl child. When I saw this story, I began to shed tears. I'm struggling even to hold back my tears now. We need to help the youth. This is a guy without a dad. But the governor has proven to him that there's a dad somewhere. And this is an example for other governors to follow. There are governors in Nigeria today who are unable to pay. They are owing WAEC. They are owing WAEC the fees of their respective states. I think this is something to be ashamed of. So Shetima, we are proud of you. We are happy with what you have
It deserves a
done.
round of applause. It deserves a round of applause from us. Kudos.
God will continue to guide you. Where you want to take Borno to, in spite of the challenges, God will help you to take Borno beyond that point. And I pray for this boy, Israel. He will be one of the greatest of his generation. This is a really inspiring story for me. And I can't forget this day.
On that very, very sobering note, I'd like to thank Wale Adeoye, Wahid Bakari, and Babajide Kolade Otitoju. Thank you so much. It's and we'll have to thank the governor of Borno State once again. Thank you, sir. And this is the kind of example we want to be seeing in our country. And that's it on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. You can also watch Journalist Hangouts on our platforms showing on the screen. We are live on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangouts at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Uzubaku. See you and God bless Nigeria.